Okay, I'm recording this real quick because I do not have any time. I'm actually getting texts right now to get in my ride and leave. Now, where am I going, you're probably wondering. VTHacks is an annual competition held at Virginia Tech where myself and a team of 3 other people are going to compete against up to 2,000 other competitors to basically build an entire app in 36 hours. And after making the entire thing, we then get judged, scored, and hopefully walk away with some prizes.
The winner of VTHacks 12 is...
So the plan is I'm going to get in the car, we're going to grab some gas, get some drinks from down the street, and then we're going to head to Blacksburg. It's a 4.5-hour drive, so we'll probably be at Virginia Tech around 6:30, 7:30, but I'm sure we'll have a good start. I hear the top prize this year is an Apple Vision Pro for each team member, which is a $4,000 prize. Our plan this year is Hungry Hokies, a web app designed to make food logging for students as easy as possible. We'll use an image classification machine learning model in order to identify the food inside of a given picture, and then use a third-party database to return all of the nutritional information about that food back to the user, as well as some helpful health calculations.
So what exactly is this Figma?
That's the website. Make it look like that. Yeah, that's the main thing.
Functionality.
Yeah, because right now I'm working on the classification and the nutrition stuff, and I should be done with that before tomorrow afternoon. We said originally we thought we'd start at 8, and then it went to 9, and then 10, and now it's midnight, and I just wrote my first 2 words of code.
I miss having the ECE department from last year.
Dude, there's a fire alarm right above you. No way, you just said there's a fire alarm right above me.
I'll just breathe it all in.
Now, going in this year, there was a little bit of a weight on our shoulders. Over the past few competitions, we've been on a bit of a losing streak. And especially with VTHacks, considering last year we lost the competition to some very interesting projects. This year, we just really wanted to prove to ourselves that we still had it. Now, once we got settled in and I explained the idea to the rest of the team, I sat down and started working on what would take up the next day and a half, making the image classification model. And now, while I wouldn't say I'm an expert, at this point, having done this exact thing at competitions in the past, I knew this would be a pretty quick task. A couple hours later, half the team decided to go home to sleep for the night, while my friend and I, who drove down to VT, decided that we'd stay in the conference room to get a bit more work done, as well as camp out there for the next couple days. Right now, it is 3:30, it's like 3:30 a.m. Saturday morning, and I'm waiting for the classification model to get trained. We're on epoch 2 out of 10, and we're almost done with it. And while that's running, I need to use as much power as I can afford on my laptop, so it is for that reason that I'm not doing anything else. I'm also waiting for the blow-up mattress, the air mattress here, to get filled up with it's a very big mattress, and I'm waiting for the very tiny air pump to fill it up. I have a lot of waiting to do. Finally, when the air mattress got set up, I went to sleep with the model training, knowing that when I woke up, it would finally be ready to move on to the next step. So when I woke up, I found that not only was there some error that made my model not train, but VS Code had also closed and my laptop had been shut down. So how did that happen? I have no idea. But at this point, the only thing that there was to do was to just train it again and see what the error was and figure out a way to fix it. Along with that, seeing as we'd basically made no progress in anything up to this point, I decided that I'd start getting to work on building the front end, for which we used React and Tailwind. Now, once my friend who stayed the night with me in the conference room woke up, I told him the whole issue with the model training, and we decided to try a new approach. So now, when you're training a machine learning model, it takes a bit of processing power. So the more processing power you have, the faster it'll train. Now, my issue is my laptop is not necessarily the most powerful thing out there. My team, however, had a laptop with a pretty respectable GPU and at least a CPU that was better than mine. So what we decided to do was run it on his system so that we could at least get through the training faster. But in order for us to use the GPU, there was a whole bunch of steps that we'd have to go through since we were on Windows systems. This took about 1 to 2 hours of trying to make the GPU play nice with TensorFlow.
I'm gonna try one last thing.
Okay.
If that doesn't work, it's over.
Okay, and you just want me, I'll just trade it?
Well, I will say, what's your CPU? Because it might still run faster on your CPU.
I think it will, because I'm running a 5700 mobile.
Luckily, though, when we tried that last thing, it ended up working, and we were able to use our GPU for training the model. And although that solution worked for making the training go faster, unfortunately, my code still didn't. So let's talk about the model I was trying to train. The idea was to train this model based off of the Food 101 dataset, which is basically a dataset of 101 food classes, which are basically things like pizza, burger, turkey, sandwich, things like that. And for each class that there is, each one of the 101 classes, there is 1,000 images to train off of. This means that the dataset is 101,000 images. Now, the issue is, at this point, my model was training without any errors, but the highest percentage of accuracy that we were able to get was 10, which means it would be more accurate for us to decide what food is in an image through a coin toss. In full honesty, I'm not actually that good at machine learning at all. We were at a point in the project where I needed to make a decision. Either I could leave all of the front end work entirely to the rest of the team, who was still trying to figure things out on actually how to use React and Tailwind, or I could switch what we were doing with the machine learning model to something else. And eventually, after many hours of trying to debug and troubleshoot what was going on with the model, I made the big decision. I decided that we would make a switch over to using GPT-4 Vision, which, if you don't know, is a model that was made by the same people that make ChatGPT. Except in this scenario, what we're going to do is we're going to send GPT-4 the image that is uploaded by a user. We're going to feed it a prompt, and specifically the prompt said something along the lines of, name every food item in this image in an undecorated list and separate it by new line characters. This way we would just get an exact list of every food item that's inside of an image, and while it necessarily wouldn't be the most accurate thing, or even the most reliable in a lot of situations, it worked for the prototype that we needed.
Now I'm freezing again. I hate this place.
We need to gamify it.
It pushes people, it judges people less.
So how can we gamify this so that people are competing against
No, that's the point. The point is we don't do that.
you? Display everyone the weight. Remember the category that was like, might do more harm than good?
Can we food pros in one?
Now, after getting that all figured out, we then had another decision to make, and this one was more on the user management side. So originally we had an idea of doing user management right, basically, through cookies and all of that stuff. But
I don't want to learn how to do cookies, like respectfully.
Oh, have you never done cookies before?
I think the browser's rejecting it because the cookies are coming from a different source than the website. We could just set an is logged in state on the React and just pass around an is logged in thing.
we still had a login system. We still had a database that was storing user information, passwords, but in order to handle user sessions, so when a user is logged in and when a user is logged out, we kind of cheesed it a little bit. So what we did instead was we just used the local storage on the website to set different variables. For an is logged in boolean that was set to true or false, we used it to set the username. Now, while both of these approaches are technically not the right way to do things, when we're making a prototype that is on a very small time budget, it's okay to cheap out on the technical skills a little bit in order to get the project working and finished. Now, from that point, things definitely started to look better for us, and while yes, we did have a majority of the functionality and the front end finished, there's still one last challenge that we would need to overcome if we didn't want to walk home empty-handed. Everybody kind of split up for dinner. I'm the first one back. It's about 8:30. We're kind of getting locked in. We had a few issues. We spent probably the last hour before everybody split up for dinner looking at the rubric and trying to figure out exactly how we should present the project to match the rubric. I think we have a pretty good idea for it. At this point in the competition, it was now getting pretty late, and the cracks were definitely starting to show. At this point, I had gotten a grand total of 4 hours of sleep, and it was looking like I had a future of only an hour and a half of sleep to prepare myself for the judging and demo. And even then, I still had to finish a few features for the front end, as well as writing code that would be able to calculate the total calorie intake per week that a user should be aiming for if they wanted to make some kind of target weight. The next morning, we all woke up a little bit late with only 30 minutes left before the submission, and we still needed to finish a few things for the submission write-up, and it was definitely a bit of a struggle. We ended up submitting on time at 8 a.m., but the problem was we accidentally didn't save the write-up submission. So, at 8 a.m. in the morning, after sleeping for what was maybe an hour, me and another one of my team members had to go from one side of campus all the way to where the main part of the competition was happening, go speak with one of the event organizers and ask them very, very kindly if they could extend the submission deadline so that we could add our submission write-up and not get immediately disqualified. And after we got all of that figured out, we went back to our conference room and started to work on what we would say for a project pitch. Marco, I'll start the timer for you in 3, 2, 1, go.
When looking at gaining, losing, or maintaining weight, dieting is the most crucial factor for success. On average, freshmen gain.
So then all he's got to do now is just fill out some information about himself. So, like how old he is, how tall he is. Now once he hits submit, you can go back to the home page and you can upload any photo. So the current photo we've got is one of a pie. So he's going to upload this photo. It looks like this. And then he's going to go back to the log section, and now it shows that there's the pie here.
And now that all that was figured out, all that was left to do was present the project, go to the closing ceremony, and wait to find out how we did.
The winner is... The winner for this is... Vision Link.
Dude, that's the video, bro.
First place, the one taking it all home. For a MacBook. The winner of VTHacks 12 is...
Now, although we didn't win for the second year in a row, the competition this year was run significantly better than the year before. I was reading through the project descriptions while I was returning to my teammate, and I was like, this is, these are some impressive projects. They definitely take the cake compared to, compared to what we did. I don't usually do it, but I rate VT12 a thumbs up. I give it a thumbs up out of 10. In terms of other things that are going on, quonotes.com. Join the waitlist. See you next week.